What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about Captain America Sam Wilson. I think this character, at a conceptual basis, is really cool. An evolution of the original Falcon in a different class with a ton of different abilities. I think right there, you've got a good idea. I think the execution of that idea was very poor. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail as to why I think that, and a couple of reasons why I think Falcon, or Cap Falcon as we call him, is in the state that he is in the modern day era of Marvel Contest of Champions. So, first and foremost, I think trying to adopt the original Falcon kit into a different class was a pro and a con. It's a pro because you can expand on a foundation while giving the character new things, but it's a con because the original kit doesn't really translate that well to a different class. Going from skill to tech and trying to switch around things to make it make sense within the confines of the class wheel is difficult sometimes, and you don't really see a lot of duplicate characters or characters that are just different versions of themselves trying to have abilities from the original character copied onto the new one. You don't really see that too often in MCOC. One of the best examples that was successful, I would say, is Kate Bishop, but they really went above and beyond with making her way more unique than Hawkeye. And because of that streak of uniqueness, it you can't really compare the two because they are very different within the same class. And that also was a benefit for them. It's they exist in the same class, so it makes sense to have those overlapping abilities to a certain point. And then of course she went above and beyond, like I mentioned. But that's we're not talking about Kate Bishop today. We're talking about Cap Sam. Cap Sam, I just, the word I think of when I see Cap Sam is potential, because there could have been so much more done with this character instead of trying to translate the skill Falcon into the tech class. I think the best way to describe Captain Falcon is they tried to do too much with a kit that's too little, and while trying to expand that too little kit, they spread him too thin. And he doesn't really fit anywhere. Like, he's not a really useful attacker for most content in the entire game. Not only does he rely on his signature ability in totality for damage, because if you're running an unawakened Captain America Sam Wilson, you basically have no damage. Unless you're running synergies, which can boost your damage a little bit. If you're running him unawakened, he basically has no damage. Like, it is pitiful for even a 7 star. It really is just not great. But just the way the kit comes together, in my opinion, it just doesn't really work because while like, okay, let me rephrase. The kit works, but for what I think they were going for, it doesn't really work because I think he's spread too thin. I think the utility is okay, but it's just spread out. I think the damage being locked behind the SIG is kind of a no-no, especially to the degree that it is, because even at low SIG, you're not getting that much of a benefit. I think he's just kind of a mishmash of a lot of really interesting ideas that did not come to fruition. Like, perfect example, his lock on. Different from the original Falcon. The original Falcon's lock on is very powerful and it's very useful. Not only does it give him a great damage bump, but it reduces the opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 100%. That is super strong. As boring as Falcon is, you can't deny that he's useful, right? He's one of those characters that he's never going to bring flashy numbers to the table, at least to the degree that maybe people would be expecting when thinking of flashy numbers. He's not going to blow you away with a fun playstyle, but the original Falcon is a good character. Like, you can't pick a Falcon from a 6 star or a 7 star, especially at lower progression levels, and not find use for him because that lock on is really powerful and really useful and makes him unique. It gives him a signature flair that uniquely identifies him in the skill class. Oh, Falcon, he can reduce ability accuracy by 100%. Super useful for so many things. Korg, Electro, Evade. Um, I think even like other defensive abilities that trigger. It's just so I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but just it's such a useful ability for Falcon. And translating it to this to the tech class, right? This version of Lock On, it inflicts a permanent cowardice passive for the duration of the lock on, so it's there for the entire duration of lock on. And Cap Falcon, he cannot miss, and he gains 1,000 critical rating. So that's a cool idea, right? That's a really cool idea, kind of translating lock on into a different class and making it feel useful while also not directly imitating the original version of lock on. I think that's fine, right? But I think where Cap Falcon falters is the lock on. It's too specific, right? It is too geared towards a mutant, which is fine, right? He's tech's supposed to counter mutant, but he loses a lot of his versatility because the cowardice passive, yeah, that's great for, Kitty Pryde specifically. It shuts her down in totality. And maybe a couple of other mutants that I'm not thinking of, but Kitty is the one that comes to mind, and she's not even a defensive threat anymore. And the bypassing miss, again, that's very Kitty focused. So it's almost as if Cap Falcon was semi designed to be a Kitty Pryde counter. But I think the problem with that is Nimrod came out at the same time as Kitty Pryde, and Nimrod completely shuts down everything Kitty Pryde does. So he's too late to the game, you know? If Cap Falcon came out at the same time of Kitty Pryde, I bet he would have been a more highly regarded character. If Nimrod didn't exist, I bet Cap Falcon would have been more of a highly regarded character in the tech class for at least more than he was, if he was ever really highly regarded at all. But I think the whole kit just it's a bunch of really cool ideas thrown into a character that is inherently basic, and it's just they tried to make it work, and it really doesn't. Like I said, I think the utility is strong, not strong enough to make me want to rank or use him, but it is there. The auto block with the wings, especially if you're going against opponents with prowess, that's very good for tanking special attacks. He is Captain America, so he does have high block proficiency, so that's good. Again, the lock on is not in it totally useless, but it's just too specific. It's just too specific of an ability to where if you're using him generally and not for a hyper targeted matchup like a Kitty Pryde, you're not really going to have a lot of fun. I think the problem with characters that have super specific target matchups is if they don't perform well outside of those matchups, people will just opt to use other characters that can handle that target matchup well, not as well as maybe this character, but well enough that can also do 50 other matches very well. And that's kind of where I see Captain America Sam Wilson falling into. He's at this place of obscurity where he's not inherently a bad character, but the kit comes together in a way where there's too much going on. Like there's too many things that you kind of have to either focus on while ignoring other things, and you can't exactly capitalize on everything all at once. The special attacks, like the special one inflicts a physical vulnerability, and if you're locked on, it inflicts an additional one. That's great, but it's a very weak physical vulnerability, like borderline nothing, right? It is maybe equivalent to the Hulk relic for a science character. It really just is not a lot. The special 2, that's your damage special attack, as it is for every character in the entire game, basically. Um, the instant rupture passive that deals critical damage as physical damage. That's fine. That's cool. But you're gonna see in the clips that I have that damage is not great. Even at rank 3 Sig 200, it's not blowing anybody away. And then the special 3, this special attack is just I don't know what they were thinking with this special attack because it's so different from what you want to be doing with Cap Falcon. It's just, again, I think they tried to do a lot in this kit, and it just doesn't come together properly. I don't really understand the point of the special attack because the only way to gain real benefit from it is if you're locked on. So you have to be locked on when throwing it. Instead of going for your special 2, which is going to give you more damage overall, you go for your special 3 and get a 10-second special lock. I mean, it really just it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It seems like they were experimenting with new tech or maybe a new format for a special 3, and personally it just doesn't really seem very effective. But I have a couple of gameplay clips to show you. The rank 3 7-star Sig 200, no boosts, no synergies. This is the test map Captain America, and I'm starting the fight. I'm going locked on, and I'm just building up to my special 2. You can see that the damage from a rank 3 Sig 200 7-star is fine. You know, a rank 3 7-star is not going to be weak, but it's not the type of damage that you want to see from a rank 3 7-star, especially if you invest this level of Sig, right? This is Sig 200. So about as unrealistic as you can get, but the highest amount of investment you could possibly get. So through one loop of lock-on, Cap Falcon got off around 260,000 health, right? Most opponents in Alliance War and Battlegrounds have more than 300,000 health, right? So that one single loop, it wasn't enough to kill. I go for another special tier here, just hoping that it kills, and I need one more crit. I try to go for an intercept, and he hits me. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The fight was over anyway. So that was a 50-second, 49-second fight for this Star-Lord, right? So let's see what that looks like with class advantage, right? 260,000 health, right? So it's actually even lower than I initially said. I said 300,000. So Cap Falcon without class advantage takes off around 200,000 health in that one rotation. That's decent, but health pools are only going up, right? And Cap Falcon, this is rank 3 Sig 200, right? This is as high as he can get. So if he's not even hitting that full health pool in his max ramp at his max Sig, I mean, I'm not really sure what else I can really do to help this guy out, you know? His ramp up is based on RNG because the armor gain is not guaranteed. So obviously your specials can deal more damage, but you need more armors for that to happen. And this is with class advantage, so it definitely is better, but it's still not great, right? It's still not, oh wow, that's totally worth it for a rank 3 7-star Sig 200 with class advantage, you know? There are 6-star ascended cosmic characters with class disadvantage that can put up faster times than that. And it makes me sad a little bit because Captain Falcon is a really cool character. I think his animations are awesome. I think the baseline of utility that he has, that auto block, let me talk about what that auto block is. The right here, the Bulwark buff, right? So while this buff is active, opponents have minus 100% ability accuracy when hitting Captain America's block. That's really cool. That is a super unique character-defining ability. But it's in a character that doesn't have any other defining qualities, right? So if this is the only thing you're using him for, you might as well use somebody else because blocking attacks and having the ability accuracy reduced is very cool, but it doesn't help the fact that he has very lackluster damage and the rest of his kit coming together for that full rotation doesn't really deal enough to warrant ranking him up, especially considering this is a Sig 200. I want to emphasize that. This is the highest possible rarity Captain Falcon can be. Sig 200, rank 3, 7-star with crit stat focus. It doesn't get any better than this for Captain America Sam Wilson. It doesn't get any better. And Cap he just doesn't really have the sauce, you know? He just doesn't really pull it off in the way that you would want him to. I guarantee if I were to do a fight with normal Falcon at this level, it would be over in probably 30 seconds, and that lock-on would be preventing so much defensive BS that you wouldn't have to worry about anything. It's boring, but it's effective. Captain Falcon, he's not boring, but he's not very effective. You know, it's kind of the exact opposite of normal Falcon. Whereas Falcon is a boring champ. I mean, he is about as cookie cutter combo character as you can get. Nice alliteration there. He's super boring, but he's very effective. Captain America Sam Wilson, he's not boring. He's very fun to use. Love the animations. Solid utility. But he's not very effective, you know? And I think that's where he falters. But that's all I have for this video. I have heard the feedback and you guys like this type of analysis video, so I'm going to keep doing it as per your request. So let me know what you guys think about Captain America Sam Wilson. Do you like him? Do you hate him? Are you somewhere in between? I personally, I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't see him being very useful at all, really anywhere. I think he lives in a class that kind of like Hawkeye that outclassed him pretty early, and it's a shame because I like him. I think he's visually very cool. I love the suit. I love that he has the comic accurate suit. I really do appreciate that. And animations, stellar. I really think his animations are fantastic. But, you know, that's not a saving grace for a character. For fun, it is, but for usefulness, it isn't. So, yeah, Thank you all very much for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you haven't already. Both of those things help me out greatly. Helps the channel out, gets the word out there that I'm making content people are enjoying. So if you could do those two things, I'd greatly appreciate that. And if you like notifications and you want to know whenever I'm going live or whenever I upload a new video, hit the notification button if that's something you're into. All right, thank you very much, everybody.